Shalom Bracha. Welcome once again to our weekly series of Divrei Torah on Parashat Shavua. This week's parasha is Parashat Haye. At the beginning of this week's parasha, we read about the passing of Sarah Imenu. And in one of the more famous Rashis that people know about, Rashi explains and says, do you know why this week's parasha's opening story of Sarah Imenu's passing comes right after the last event in last week's parasha, Akedat Yitzhak? Why are these connected? Because as soon as Sarah Imenu heard the news of her son Yitzhak being sacrificed on the altar, or almost being sacrificed and then being saved, she then passes away almost instantaneously. And that is really something a story that sticks with us, A. But B, I think it's a story that we need to delve into a little bit more and figure out what's bothering Rashi. Rashi is puzzled by something that we may not have thought about in the past. All throughout the sojourns of Avraham Avinu, we see that Sarah is by his side. And Sarah is the one who helps Avraham make the Nefesh Beharan. She's the one who is constantly helping the family, constantly nurturing the family, and constantly at Avraham's side at every turn. And now, yet at one of the greatest moments in Avraham's life, the Akedah, and one of the greatest moments of Yitzhak, her son's life, Sarah is not there. Rashi is trying to explain why Sarah was not at the Akedah. Why wasn't she there? And then right away we read about her death. Now we're meant to, when we look at this Rashi, think that what happened, Avraham and Yitzhak, they snuck out and they didn't tell Sarah. And this is the first that Sarah is hearing about this mission. Wanted to propose a different way of looking at Rashi. That really, what is Rashi trying to tell us? No, Sarah knew about it. Of course she knew. But what? This was the culmination of her life. The fact that she was able to run a household with Avraham, having the level of faith that he had, and Yitzhak, a son that had the level of faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu and understanding that he had, which the Midrashim go at great lengths to try to prove to us. This was something that Sarah also took responsibility for. And as soon as she hears that the mission is complete, she realizes that her test in this world is done. And there's nothing left to accomplish. And therefore, she leaves this world and she exits. And I think that that's a big difference in how we read the Rashi. It's a big difference in understanding that Sarah Imenu still had an integral part in the Akedah, even though it was Avraham's test. Sarah Imenu definitely was one of the players behind the scenes in ensuring that her family was able to rise up to these tests. And even though she wasn't at the Akedah, and we know HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not give us a test that we cannot handle, she did not need to actually witness it to know that the mission was completed. And Rabotai, what we can take away from this is appreciation for our mothers and the women in our lives who make sure that on a day-to-day basis we are following in the ways of the Torah and ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In this week's Parashat, Parashat Haye, let us take the extra time to think about those women and praise them and understand that without them we would not be the people who we are today. Shabbat Shalom.